Everything has just been absolutely upended in the Bitcoin world. There are rumors that the US Congress passed a bill that would effectively require the use of XRP across the US financial sector. The action taken is unprecedented and unexpected. According to the data that was released, there is a legislative framework in which XRP is recognized as a key component of the national digital liquidity, and each token is valued at an incredible $10,000. This is more than just conjecture or hyperbole. In terms of the ways that digital assets can be used in traditional banking, this is a big change. The paper currently in circulation in Washington states that the law is part of the Digital Asset Clarity Act, and that the main goal of the law's original conception was to give stable coins and cryptocurrencies clear definitions and legal guidelines. However, there are clauses in the bill that analysts are referring to as XRP provisions, but they are hidden deep within. Because of these elements, the token functions as the main tool for managing the Federal Reserve's assets, as well as Treasury liquidity and interbank payments. The law has garnered support from both parties because significant figures on both sides of the aisle understand how digital assets might help modernize the US financial system. Because XRP is fast, cheap, and has a high throughput, proponents of the cryptocurrency contend that it is the best way to replace antiquated payment systems like SWIFT. Republicans place more emphasis on innovation, competitiveness, and the potential for economic inclusion and the speeding up of international money transactions than Democrats do, as well as the global strengthening of the U.S. currency. According to reports, the law requires the Federal Reserve to start holding XRP reserves. This will therefore ensure that a specific degree of demand and liquidity is present. The bill's supporting note states that these elements are meant to guarantee that XRP's market architecture can control institutional inflows and preserve system stability. It is for this reason that the $10,000 price estimate makes sense. The bill's supporters claim that the inclusion of XRP into national finance will ensure that the United States remains at the forefront of digital asset technology. By doing this, the U.S. will surpass other countries that are now testing digital currencies issued by local central banks. According to others, the use of XRP could cut settlement times from days to seconds, remove the problems caused by correspondent banking, and improve the transparency and ease of verification of the ledger for both government and commercial operations. Those with knowledge of the issue claim that the so-called in order to ensure that the U.S. banking system can quickly access digital currency in a controlled and safe manner, concealed XRP-friendly provisions were incorporated. Financial specialists are working rapidly to ascertain what will happen. A necessary Federal Reserve reserve in XRP would actually hold the token's value, giving it a solid base and, in all honesty, allowing institutions at all market levels to integrate it into their operations to meet the new regulation. Possibly Treasury departments, commercial banks, and international organizations will have to retain or transact in XRP currencies. The idea's proponents contend that it might lead to a notable increase in liquidity, which would enable the token to reach a value of over $10,000 in a way that would be impossible for speculative markets to do alone. It is claimed that extensive scenario modeling is included in the letter that is presently circulating in Congress. Rumor has it that this illustrates how a phased rollout over several months might bring massive amounts of money, reduce instability, and enhance integration with the U.S. banking system. Furthermore, the bill illustrates not only the technical ramifications, but also a broader political and economic strategy. There are sections that highlight how XRP's ledger technology allows for nearly instantaneous settlement with complete transparency. In addition to putting the US at the forefront of digital asset innovation, requiring everyone to adopt XRP would make it harder for other countries to challenge its financial dominance. This could lessen the severity of systemic risk, facilitate corporate treasury procedures, and improve international trade. Those opposed to the concept are worried about overly centralization, overbearing government regulation, and the potential for unforeseen changes in the market. Despite this, Congress leaders insist that the measure includes strict compliance and auditing mechanisms, along with varying implementation dates to ensure that it won't have any unsettling consequences. Although the execution is claimed to have taken place in a relatively short amount of time, this was really the intended outcome. Pilot projects at the central bank and government agencies will probably start right away in the near future. It is expected that the full merger will occur in the upcoming 12 to 24 months. The memo states that the $10,000 price level is required to ensure that federal and commercial enterprises have enough cash on hand. In addition to preserving market stability, economists believe that requiring a value would yield reliable information that may be utilized for government budget planning, the protection of corporations, and the resolution of conflicts with foreign nations. Theoretically, each dollar of XRP held by the Federal Reserve would have a multiplier impact that would incentivize counterparty institutions to align their holdings. As a result, a demand mechanism would be created that would keep working well on its own. For people who frequently make purchases, this is a somewhat unsettling development. The strategies that corporate budgets, hedge funds, and institutional investors will employ to meet the new standards may cause substantial changes in the allocations of portfolios. The likelihood that prices will rise at a never-before-seen rate is considerable. Witnessed before, particularly for smaller customers. The trading volume, liquidity, and adoption measures are all anticipated to rise sharply once the $10,000 valuation stops being just a concept and starts to materialize. Analysts predict that this will lead to XRP evolving beyond its current status as a cryptocurrency. It will develop into a systemic financial instrument that is integrated into the American economy. Furthermore, it is expected that media attention and educational programs would speed up the adoption of the new rules as the public and private sectors adjust to them. The enactment of this law, which contains hidden XRP portions and has bipartisan support, represents a key turning point in the history of digital assets. It unifies regulatory authority, institutional strategy, and market infrastructure to make it easier for XRP to be incorporated into the mainstream of finance. One item stands out as particularly obvious. There are still questions about how the proposal will be carried out, the market's response as well as other countries' responses. The XRP token is no longer only a speculative asset. It has been placed at the core of the United States financial policy and has been granted